So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Andy Rance in the studio with us. Andy's lovely lady, Julie, she's here, but she's hiding from the microphone. But Andy from Livewire Youth is here. We have, by the way, Andy, we have hit the over £100 so far.
Oh, excellent.
So, yeah, fantastic. So, so far, got to keep it coming. And welcome to Ferndale Community Radio.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and I'm 3 hours in, still feeling, actually I'm buzzing, I drank too much coffee.
Can never drink too much coffee.
No, definitely not. So I think, Andy, we need to tell the world what Livewire Youth music is all about.
Okay, well that's I can't hear me in here. Is that okay? I don't mind not hearing me.
Can you hear you now?
I can hear you, and I can hear you as well.
Is that better?
Yeah. Well, do you know, Livewire Youth Project, also known as Livewire Youth Music Project, hasn't really been doing an awful lot of music for the last 7 months, although we have been doing some. So I'll kind of tell you about what we're offering at the moment, and then maybe kind of just talk a little bit about mental health, if that's
absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
So, when lockdown kind of kicked in back in March, which seems like a million years ago, we were open 4 nights a week, and, we do various work day times with young people that were sent to us from schools or social services that are maybe going through a bit of a tough time. Obviously, the pandemic crept up on us, and we had to kind of shift pretty much everything online then. So we set up some online, which we're still running at the moment, online support pages through Facebook where young people can come along and get involved, or just completely ignore me, and that's fine. I can live with that. Do you know what I mean? But it's it's just somewhere to connect, and I think I'm going to probably talk about this in a minute, but staying connected is a huge part of keeping our head in a really good place. So we've got the online stuff during those online sessions in the evening, which are all on Facebook, incidentally. We've got some of our musicians that go on and give lessons. It's just somewhere to kind of connect the online stuff there. But we also run a telephone helpline Monday to Friday. We run a text line which runs 24/7, 7 days a week, although we might not look at it at 3 o'clock in the morning, but it's there. But since June, we've kind of started doing one-to-one work with young people at Livewire that are maybe going through a difficult time. And so we've got our team of counsellors, Elaine and Julie and myself, have been meeting young people, again, Monday to Friday, which has got really quite busy and hectic. The young people are coming in for counselling, or they're coming in for youth work support. But I'd say 99% of what we're doing at the moment is very much based around trying to just help young people get through this in terms of their mental health and their well-being. We're doing bits of music. So again, in June, we started... we kind of rejiggled Livewire's 250 capacity venue to make a space for 5 or 6 people to rehearse, which is...
definitely.
But it kind of works well. So we've been having young people coming in on a Monday, Thursday and Saturday to either do rehearsing or to record, because at the moment our recording studio, which is quite small but incredibly well equipped, thanks to Mr. Townsend from The Who. Are we allowed to mention The Who?
Of course you can mention The Who.
Of course you can. One of the greatest rock bands ever, but there you go. I have to say that.
Yeah, you do. You do. Contractually.
Yeah. So that's been going well. We've also, literally the day before we went into lockdown, we'd employed a really amazing female musician called Josie. And we got the funding through the Tampax tax. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. Have to cause a slight titter there. But anyway, it was genuinely the Tampax tax fund. You couldn't say that fast.
No.
3 times. And you turn into something, goodness knows what. But obviously, the next day we kind of locked down, and the whole idea for Josie was to engage with and work with young female musicians. Because I don't know. I think the music world is very male dominated. It always has been, and I suppose this is part of our way of trying to address that. And Josie's remit isn't just getting a group of young girls to sit there and sing. It's to actually get them behind drum kits, playing guitars, and rocking out. So that started happening. That's brilliant, and that's kind of where we're at the moment. I mean, we're hoping, if this pandemic doesn't get any worse, which who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. But we've just put in for some funding from the Arts Council to see if we can maybe host 10 physically distant gigs. Notice I'm saying physically distant rather than socially distant. One of our little bugbears is that we keep hearing people talking about social distancing. Humans, we're social creatures, and we don't want to be socially distant from each other.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We just want to be physically distant. So.
Yeah. You can still be social across 2 meters.
Absolutely. And to be honest, then it
or
can...
1 meter.
Or 1 meter.
Yeah. So how is it going to work, 1 meter?
If you can.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm training for politics now. Do you know what I mean? Keep it vague.
Meterish,
yeah. Somewhere between 1 inch and 5 feet is good if you're into imperial measurements. Yeah, I've tripped myself up there. Where did I go? Come back. Where did I go? Oh, we are.
You were live shows.
Live shows, yeah.
Live shows.
And the idea there, I mean, our current live music venue, which is 250 capacity, in order to make this work, we'd have to reduce that to 30, which is pretty low, really. But then some of the young bands I've spoken to said we've played to much less than 30 anyway.
Oh, yes.
So that's kind of okay. But I think what we want to do is we want to kind of use it also as a piece of research, really. So to find out from the audience what the experience is like, and to find out from the musicians what it's like playing these sort of physically distant gigs. But that's all dependent upon what happens, I guess, Monday, when our wonderful Prime Minister tells us what's going to be coming up. So, but that's what we'd like to do. And I think what we've also tried to do with the whole notion of this funding for some physically distant gigs is to incorporate into it, so we can actually pay some young bands, and we can pay some young members of crew members. So we've built that into the cost. So that's sharing the musical love, and
beautiful.
So hopefully that can happen, but like everything, it's all up in the air at the moment.
Sorry, I got distracted because there's a message through, because we do have people listening.
Oh.
And if Andy can mention The Who, a great band, can I get you to play The Who, is HU band, HU, Song of Woman with Lizzie Hale, which is great. So he's talking about the other Who.
I didn't realise there was another Who.
Well, they're a Mongolian metal band.
I know. I've heard of them.
The HU Who. Yeah. So they're a Mongolian. They're brilliant. They are amazing.
Well, I thought it was quite interesting when Donald Trump was talking about banning the Who. But obviously he was talking about the World Health Organisation and not our mate Pete and co.
Let's not talk about that person. No. I don't think, because we're trying to keep it. Although
we're
talking about mental health, we don't want to make it too much worse for anybody. Having to think about that individual superhero, Yeah. Anyway,
blessed by God he is.
Yeah, apparently. Absolutely. Anyway, let's keep this positive. I mean, I think. One of the things I obviously, as you well know, my son plays in one of the bands out of Livewire.
He does.
And I think they are really keen to start playing live again at some point, and especially now they are complete again, which is absolutely amazing, because there was worries there for a while. Yeah. But they have taken full advantage of the recording down at Livewire, and it's just kept them as a group absolutely buzzing. and motivated.
Well, I think the thing is, I mean, whilst we can't do huge amounts of music, I mean, music's just a huge part of what Livewire is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
You know, and that kind of links into the whole kind of notion of mental health, you know, and as it's World Mental Health Day, and I think as I posted on Facebook, for us it's Mental Health Day every day, sort of 365 days a year. You know, but I mean, before we had Elaine and our team of counsellors, we kind of recognised that music is just a really massive kind of healer. And so we'd target young people who had poor mental health for vocal lessons or for drumming or for whatever, and we bully them up onto the stage because it's really good for their self-confidence.
Is that really the right word?
Well, I only say that because I remember... Actually, I'm going to cajole. Okay, but I always remember we had a young woman who came to us, and I won't mention her name. I mean, if she's listening to
it's not the one in the video, is it?
It is the one in the video. But I always remember. I mean, it's safe to say when she first came to Livewire, she was a very damaged young woman, very damaged, and you know, people were concerned about her survival, let alone just her mental health. And, you know, we worked with her incredibly intensely, you know, at a youth work level, but also, you know, she was having singing lessons and she was having guitar lessons. And I always remember, I'm just gonna have a little cough. It's not a COVID cough. I'm just going to... There we go. That's better. I have this little froggy in my throat. Like Julie's decided I'm tapping the pen too much, so she's just moved it. Okay.
It's actually, you can't hear it, so we can't hear it. Yeah,
that's good.
The directional microphone's okay.
Anyway, this young woman, she'd been coming to Livewire for about 6 months, and on a Monday night, we just have what we called an open mic, but it wasn't really. We just get people up on the stage and they do a song or a couple of songs. And I remember this young woman was like in the venue just watching somebody on the stage, and I'd sort of sidled up next to her and said, go and do a song. And she said, no, I can't. And I said, do it, you know, just do half a song. And she said, no, I can't. I said, do half a song with your back to the audience, you know.
Yeah.
And anyway, eventually she got up there with her guitar and, you know, she did a song. And, you know, a little bit croaky at first. I think it was the first time she'd ever performed in front of any kind of an audience. But at the end of it, she said, can I do another one? And I went, you know, you can just carry on, mate. And she was up there, I think she was up there probably for 20 minutes. But I saw something magical happen at that moment. Yeah. And that was, she just came out of herself. She just completely... for that moment on stage, totally believed in herself. And from that moment on, pretty much every week she was in Plymouth, different open mics, performing in front of other people. Any opportunity to perform, she was doing it. And to cut a long story short, I mean, sometime later, her mother got in contact with us and just basically said, look, thank you for giving us our daughter back. And, you know, I sometimes get a little bit... moist around the eyes over some of these things, but it's real. And
absolutely,
you know, to quote Queen, who I'm probably in a minority here, not my favourite band, although I do respect them all as musicians, but you know, it just didn't. Apart from the classic, you know, you know, in the car. You know, but it really is a kind of magic, and I guess what we've tried to do is harness the magic of music and link it in with, I suppose, the magic of psychology and the counselling and everything, and the youth work skills that we all kind of use to just try and make young people's lives a little bit better.
So have you kept in contact with the said person? Because obviously she went on to work in...
I saw her yesterday.
Oh, did you? Well, I was just wondering how she was getting on, because she obviously went on to work in the music industry. Yeah. Because the last time I saw her, she was running the monitor desk at the Hub, which obviously is no longer. Yeah. But that was the last time I saw her. So she was working at the Hub. Yeah. I mean, running the sound desk out on request of the band, because they'd worked with her before. Yeah. And they specifically asked for her to work. So how is she coping now?
I mean,
not having that sort of work around anymore.
Pardon? I know. Sorry. I was waiting. Sorry, Julie and I are bickering because we like to do that. I mean, for a very long time, she's been doing live sound and monitor engineering as a freelancer, which has obviously all been put on ice because of the virus. But she also works down at an incredibly well-known mixing desk manufacturer in Cornwall, Allen and Heath.
Fair enough.
So she's working within the industry she loves. And,
that's brilliant.
To be fair, I mean, if I go back, sorry,
go on, go for it.
I'm on a roll.
No, you go for it.
But I mean, I always remember Martin Barr, who was the guitarist with Jethro Tull, which I'm sure all of you young people will have heard of Jethro Tull. But Martin used to sometimes come in and use Livewire to kind of do pre-tour production stuff, and so you just kind of go in the venue for a week and bugger off before we opened the evening sessions and then come back the next day. But he said to me, have you got somebody that can run the sound system in the venue? And so we got one of our members at the time, a young man called Sam, to come in and, he did the sound for Martin. At the end of the week, Martin said to me, how would you feel if I said I wanted to steal Sam from you? I went, perfect. I mean, it's
what it's about, isn't it?
It is what it's about, and whilst it kind of threw us into it, like we've got to get people to replace Sam now because he was so good, which happens and, people move on. But I think Sam still works for Martin Barr and he tours America, Europe and the UK doing his front of house. And that was, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Something
that's
like
brilliant.
That.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, I would say, without Livewire, the person you were talking about before probably wouldn't have had that opportunity in the first place to be working at Allen Heath and doing things. And she may not have even discovered that was her passion.
Well, she wanted to be a vet when she first came to us. So
there you go.
There we go. But I think we've got. I mean, another young man who came through us. He does not quite. It is linked to music, but he works with Warner Brothers doing health and safety stuff for shows and things all over. It's great. And
he's not the one that sits and listens to Facebook and then cuts you off. Then
probably.
That's Warner Brothers that did that.
But I think. We are educational, but we're not a school. Everything we do is hands-on, and I think for some young people, that's the best way to learn.
Yeah, and I've got to say, I mean, we've talked about mental health and so on, but it's not just young people with mental health issues. And, and I can tell you from my experience as a father, right, I mean, I don't consider my son to have had any mental health issues at all. But what he was bullied, he was timid, he was shyish when he joined, and now he's a very strong, confident individual, very tall individual now.
Yeah.
Yes, he doesn't like me putting out the original Livewire photos. He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't like those little short round pictures of when he's first playing a Livewire.
They're like puppies, aren't they? When you stretch them out, they kind of
But he that confidence for him to play in a public house at the age of 15 on stage has come through working with you guys.
But what's really cool, I think, is that I mean, Livewire's open to any young person between the age of sort of 13 and 21. We do go up to 25 if there are additional needs. But everyone just gets on together. So you've got young people there that are going through some incredibly horrific stuff, some of them. Others are just doing, just plodding on, they're into their music and everything's kind of cool. But I mean, we've also got an awful lot of LGBTQ plus young people that come to Livewire because they feel safe, because nobody judges them, nobody gives a monkeys. Are we able to say that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I always remember when somebody new turns up, I usually get one of the older or one of the other members to show them around rather than, I don't know, some boring old youth worker with balding.
I don't think you have any boring old youth workers.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. But, I got this young person to, show this new person around. And, the person that was showing this new young person around was a trans young person. And later on, because the reason I do that is not only does that young person get to meet everyone, but there's one other person then, one other young person they know, which, because sometimes people turn up and they don't know anyone and it can be quite intimidating. But I heard them talking on the step, and I'll moderate this to the best I can, but the trans young person said to the other young person, "Oh yeah, it's really great here. Nobody gives a doodah what you got between your legs." And I thought that was really powerful in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because actually nobody's judging, and I think when we're talking about mental health, because a lot of people kind of get caught up in this BS. That we can't talk about it. It's like suicide. We can't talk about it. But actually, we've got to talk about these things.
Shall I let you drink your coffee and we'll play some music?
Yeah.
I asked you for a request when you came in, and you asked for some AC/DC. And as soon as I find my cursor,
I thought about it.
Oh, we're on the air now.
Right.
Yeah, so we're back on the air. So that was UFO Doctor. I've got to turn that down again. That was UFO Doctor. That was another special request for Andy and Julie. Apparently that was their first song, was it?
That was our romantic. That was our song, wasn't it?
Your song.
Back in the day.
That's a great song. Well, I wasn't that big. I don't think I was that big a UFO fan. I think they were just before me. So I learned about that song from Michael Schenker because I was a massive Michael Schenker fan. And Live at the Budokan is probably one of the top 5 live albums I think of all time, up there with Thin Lizzy, obviously another.
Obviously,
although that was 50% studio.
Oh, that's controversial. No, I'm sure it was live.
But yeah, because some of it was.
Yeah,
the crowd's bits. As live as live shows are now. And before that, what did we have before that? Oh, we had the AC/DC Shot Down in Flames. Was another request. Okay, Andy, are you going to talk a little bit about looking after yourself, I guess? Yeah,
well, I guess I've got some quite strong views about the whole issue around mental health. And I mean, I've been a huge critic of, I suppose, mental health services in the past. That's why we ended up setting up our own services, because we got kind of sick and tired of young people being put on 6-month, 1 year, 18-month, 2-year waiting lists, which I just think completely sucks. But, I really believe that the answer to addressing mental health issues isn't with the government, it's not with the NHS, it's not with CAMS, it's actually with each and every one of us, because every one of us knows groups of people. You might be in a motorbike club, you might be in a sports club, you might go to a particular pub and you've got some mates there. It might be a class or peer group at school, it might be a band, whatever it is. Actually trying to get people to just check up on their mates, to just check everyone's okay. I've not mentioned Ed yet, so I'm going to mention Ed. When we lost Ed sort of 2 years ago, that really profoundly kind of hit me in terms of, I guess, assumptions we make about people. I think we can look at people, particularly those people that are smiling and jovial and, really seem to have it all together, and we can assume that they're okay. And I just think we can't make those assumptions. We need to be checking on the people that we know. And, it doesn't cost us anything apart from a little bit of our time. And, if every single one of us could do that, there probably wouldn't be any need for mental health services because we'd have it nailed in our own communities. So I think that's what I'd be trying to urge people is, send people a text, pick up your phone, drop in and see them if you're not in lockdown or whatever, but stay connected with those people, and I mean, sometimes, and it was interesting, because we did some suicide prevention training a little while back, and they were talking about the signs, so somebody withdrawing, somebody, not seeming very happy, but they were also talking about people that suddenly seem to have a load of peace and they're giving away their possessions and things. If somebody is acting slightly differently, then just check out if they're okay, and we can all have conversations. That's all it costs.
I know. And I mean, I think I said at the top of this, right at the top of the show, obviously with Ed in mind, because this show came about because of thinking of Ed. And I said at the top of the show, you've got to check with everybody. Because sometimes you just don't know what's going on, because, I mean, we talk about Ed. Okay, I know he was getting support, but on the outside, he was the person that everyone looked up to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They idolized him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so difficult.
And I think
he was the leader, and he was the life and soul of the party.
Yeah.
Right up to the day before.
And I think this is really that whole notion of not assuming that people are okay just because somebody seems to be flamboyant, and that we need to just check that out. And I guess as well, I'm not going to start chucking statistics around, but there's far more men taking their lives.
I know the statistics. If you want to, 75% of suicides are men.
Yeah.
75%.
And I suspect a huge chunk of those are going to be under the age of 40 as well. I'd say to any men out there listening to this, going through mental health issues, going through emotional difficulties, it's not a sign of weakness. It doesn't mean that, you're crap, and, you shouldn't be feeling ashamed. It's really important that men learn to talk about their emotions and things. It's absolutely kind of crucial, because otherwise this will keep continuing and we'll keep losing people. I say it incredibly frequently on social media, but if there's anyone out there, if there's any young people out there that are struggling, then get in contact with us, drop us a message, whatever. Just because we don't know you doesn't mean to say we don't care, and that's really important.
Absolutely.
And men talk to each other. It's I don't know. We get from a very early age, we get told to pull ourselves together, stop crying, man up, and all of this sort of thing. And it that attitude's killed too many men.
Yeah,
and we've got to change that.
Definitely. And I mean, obviously, Livewire is for young people, but if there's older people out there, there are the services out there that have been set up by people who have been affected. So
absolutely.
There's the Andy's Man Club, which there is a branch in Plymouth.
Yeah, there's Man Down.
And obviously there are the Samaritans and other clubs as well. What's the other one I did the other week? It'll come back to me in a second. There's one specially for men.
Yeah. And it's Saturday. It's Saturday.
It's
been a long week.
Yeah, I will get that before we finish. So for people that are listening who obviously are older, but just talk to somebody anyway. It doesn't have to be specialised. You just need to make contact.
You don't need to be an expert. You don't need training to just check on somebody. You don't have to be. Yeah, you don't have to be that expert. No. You just got to care.
Exactly. Oh, yes. That's Shall I play another song?
Yeah.
So 2 absolute classic rock tracks there. A bit of Journey and Don't Stop Believing, and followed by Bon Jovi and Living on a Prayer. Andy, I think you're going to go off shopping now.
I think that's the plan. I think my lovely good wife is looking like she needs wine, so we best go and rectify that one. But it's been really, really lovely being here with you, Mike. It's always a pleasure to be with you, either physically at Livewire or the other side of a table with microphones
Well,
in
I think
front
this is
of
the
us.
first time we've actually physically seen each other for ages, really. We've been zoomed.
I did see you when you were dropping Cameron off the other Saturday.
Oh, yes, we did wave. We did wave,
We
yes,
waved
from
from
distance,
a distance,
yeah,
yeah.
from a-
Ships in
From
the
a
night and
distance.
things.
Oh, no, wrong. Sort of
But no, I just kind of just thank everyone that's listening in and thank everyone that's kind of donating and, just thank you all and look out for each other. Be kind to each other and be kind to yourself.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming in. Brilliant. And hopefully we can raise loads for you. Okay.
There we go.